Okie dokie, we've talked about how real estate might crash. Now we'll talk about how it might not crash. There's a lot going on. We'll cover 3 different things that might prevent a crash and how you're affected by real estate being propped up. Check out our other video right here on what may cause real estate to crash in the future. Remember, this isn't investment advice. I'm not a fortune teller. I'm certainly not your investment advisor, mortgage broker, or realtor. Go ahead and subscribe right here, though. If you want more info like this, hit that little bell down there and hit the like button. Leave a comment down below, too, for anything else you want to hear about. All right, we'll get into it. 3 things we'll talk about in this video are government intervention, endlessly low bank interest rates, and large corporations buying properties. So that means we have government that could prevent this, banks that could prevent this, and large corporations that could. Stick around to the end for our opinion, my opinion, on what will prevent real estate from absolutely going through the floor, crashing like the worst wreck you've ever seen, and turning into a huge crisis where nobody can buy a house and nobody can sell a house. All right, we will go into it here. And this is a chart we've covered before on the Federal Reserve's holdings of mortgage-backed sausages. So what that means, the Federal Reserve is going ahead and buying all of the mortgage-backed securities that are out there that are going bad. The banks are like, hey, Mr. Jerome Powell, I'm going to go ahead and package this up. We'll throw a couple good ones on top to make this considered investment grade, even though it's not and it's failing, and you're going to be broke. And the Federal Reserve over there says, yeah, go ahead and sell us, I don't know, $1.9 trillion worth of mortgage-backed securities. We'll go ahead and buy those so you don't go out of business, Mr. Bank. And the banks are like, okay, great, here you go, Jerome. That's the chairman of the Federal Reserve. That means he's in charge of the Federal Reserve. So being in charge of the Federal Reserve and them owning $1.9 trillion in mortgage-backed sausages would mean Jerome Powell is the world's largest investor in real estate. Wow, there you go. Okay, back to our slide. So what that means is government intervention is keeping banks from going broke on their toxic mortgage sausages. The other thing that's going on is endlessly low bank interest rates. Now, it's not really their fault. It kind of has to do with the government and the Federal Reserve attempting to drive rates as low as possible to spur home buying. But anyway, the banks don't have any risk, so they can charge 2.25% for a home loan over 30 years, which is crazy. That's no money for the banks, and that's why these mortgage-backed sausages the government's buying aren't worth anything, even though they're paying way over face value for them to these banks, and the banks are making billions. That's why they can keep interest rates low, because there's no risk. They can just sell the banknote, the loan, over to the Federal Reserve. All right, great, super. That keeps housing prices propped up and inflating at a stupid rate right now. What effect does that have? That means homes will not be lower in price because people can buy them super inexpensively on 30-year fixed rate mortgages backed up by the federal government. Yes, all right, that means you can go out and buy a house right now. $400,000 house costs you as much today every month as buying a $250,000 house did 15 years ago. Wow, you can buy $400,000 and you're basically paying as much as $250,000 15 years ago. Okay, there you go. So that keeps people buying, which could prop up the housing market. The other thing that's going to happen, large corporations are gearing up to purchase huge amounts of residential property. We did a video previously, I'll link that right here, on Blackstone and how they purchased 80,000 foreclosed and distressed properties back in the last housing crisis, and how they're investing now. They are dipping their toes in with $300 million and are ready to go with billions more. What does that mean? Last time, they bought 80,000 foreclosed and distressed properties. If they do the same thing or more this time, it's going to reduce foreclosure inventory and compete with you as the single-family residential investor. They're just going to go ahead and buy everything in certain markets. Again, watch that video, and I'll tell you kind of how to compete with them. And not allow prices to bottom out. They're just going to go ahead and clear all the foreclosures by putting in cash offers. All right, cash is great. Super. So with all of that in mind, who is going to be responsible for preventing the next housing crash? And the answer, in this YouTuber's opinion, the Federal Reserve and Mr. Jerome Powell. All right, why? Well, they've committed to backstopping everything. They've said we will not let things drop. They've come out and more or less said that. They have committed unlimited money. They say they will print as much money as it takes to keep things afloat in this time of crisis with the global sickness and the global recession now, I guess. It's actually going to end up being a global depression, but, hey, whatever. So yeah, they're going to print unlimited money to make sure home prices don't go down. And then if they don't, the other cross current there is that politicians, the current administration, whatever, whoever it is at that time, and it probably won't be our buddy Jerome Powell in charge if regimes change. Or when regimes change. This could be, 4 years down the road when there's another election, who knows, and a new Fed chairman will be in place. But anyway, if the Fed decides they're not going to commit unlimited money and aren't going to backstop everything, these politicians will have a fit. They will go absolutely crazy. They will come after them. They will go down there and knock on the Federal Reserve's door and grab Mr. Powell by his lapel and shake the living crap out of him until he goes ahead and buys all the mortgage-backed securities out there that are going bad. We'll do another video about it. Maybe we're, not really interested in commercial real estate on this channel yet. But we'll do another video on why there may not be a crash in the commercial real estate market due to these same things that are going on with the Federal Reserve. So leave a comment down below. We'll go back to our first slide. Tell us what you think about that. Tell us how you think it'll affect the market. There's another video to watch right here. And go ahead and subscribe right here. All right, y'all, take her easy out there.